You are watching The Daily on Shaw TV Channel 4. I'm Kate Bergen, and today we have the pleasure of spending some time at Milner Gardens and Woodland in Qualicum Beach. 70 acres of old-growth forest lined with Victorian gardens. Today we are focusing in on the newly renovated tea house and the rhododendrons that are in full bloom. Also in the lineup today, your island chef Michael Williams is here with another easy-to-follow recipe. Kelly Robinson has an episode of Pet Tales for you. We're going to visit down to Victoria. Nikki Iwanishin is having a little visit with Ryan Cochran, an Olympic swimmer who's getting ready to lead his team to London in just a couple of weeks from now. The Cliff McNabb Arena is in for some upgrades. The sheet of ice have been removed, and Annette Lucas will have the latest on that for us. But first, Dan Marshall and Game On. Dan has been producing and hosting Game On for 17 episodes over the course of about 2 years, and we've come to the end of an era. Game On will no longer be produced, but I have a feeling that Dan is not going very far. He's just so talented. We're not going to let that go. And, well, he's kind of in love with Todd, I think, because anytime Todd shows up in his spandex, Dan's not far behind. But all of that aside, Dan was doing some spring cleaning recently, and it took him on a little trip down memory lane. You are watching The Daily on Shaw TV Channel 4. I'm Kate Bergen. We're in Milner Gardens and Woodland today in Qualicum Beach. I'm surrounded by beauty. I absolutely love it. This little flower here, did some quick work from Todd there. I don't know what it is. I like it. And it's a good thing Kim Hammond is here because she knows what that is. What is that particular little one over there?
It's called Aquilegia. Some people know it as columbine.
Okay. Most people probably know it as columbine, just not me, because gardening's not my thing. We're over here at this garden bed because you really wanted to point out the azaleas.
The azaleas and many of the rhodos are at their peak right now, so it's really one of the best times to see the gardens. The colors are really vibrant, and because it's a semi-shaded woodland garden, they really show up, they pop.
Okay, let's have a little stroll, just a little stroll. We got a couple other things to show. Forget-me-nots, is that what those are?
Yeah, good one, yeah.
Okay, I got that one. That's only because Jeff told me that earlier when we arrived here at Milner Gardens. How many different types of azaleas are there?
Well, azaleas
I'm going to get you to come over here so we can see them behind you.
The azaleas being part of the rhododendron family, Milner has up to 450 different rhodos in here. And azaleas fit that picture. So azaleas actually belong to the rhododendron family. So.
Now, by the time this gets on air, which right now, watching at home, it's Thursday or Friday of our current week, how long will these be in all of their glory?
The azaleas will probably last a good while because we still have cooler temperatures. And as long as we have sort of cooler night temperatures, they'll last quite a long time. The hotter it gets, the sooner they'll finish. But we have rhodos that go from December to July. So there's always something to look at.
Okay, and we're going to go look at a labyrinth right now. I think we're going to go get lost. We found the labyrinth, and I was here a few years ago. It was nothing but outlined in a little bit of pine cones, so it's definitely evolved. Kim, this is a good example of what gardens are meant for.
That's right. They definitely shows how over time they graduate, and all the bellis have grown up and made the outline nice and clear.
I'm relaxed already. Contemplation in a garden, walking through a labyrinth.
Even without the seagulls.
The birds get a little bit noisy. Kim said it's really quiet, oh, except for the birds and the sound of the waves. And oh, that is just too terrible to bear, I swear it. But you know what? I hear there's a secret garden somewhere. I wonder if we can find that. Tucked away behind some bushes on a secret path less traveled, we will find Kim Hammond's favorite rhododendron. We are at Milner Gardens and Woodland in Qualicum Beach. You are watching The Daily on Shaw TV Channel 4. This is Kim Hammond. Why is this your favorite?
Well, it's my favorite because it is a little bit tucked away, but it starts out with a perfect little pink bud, and then it just balloons into this huge, great big inflorescence of white, and it has a wonderful fragrance. So, and I work in the nursery, so I get it all the time.
And many people, as we mentioned, probably miss that because they don't take the paths.
Smaller paths.
Yeah. And when will this be in bloom until?
Probably another couple of weeks, I'm sure.
Okay, fantastic. Now, Good luck finding it when you get here if you find Kim on site. Do you have any tips on the well, find the nursery?
Just take the smaller paths. You can go on the grass. Just go wherever the mood takes you.
Okay, now we're going to throw things down to Victoria, where Nikki Winishin is hanging out with an Olympian who is getting ready to represent Team Canada. Todd?
Swim team.
Swim team, that's right, thanks. He's getting ready to take Canada's swim team to the Olympics in London. Before we get to that, though, Kelly Robinson is here with another edition of Pet Tales, a fantastic dog. No dogs allowed here, though. Inside the tea room at Milner Gardens and Woodlands, you are watching The Daily on Shaw TV Channel 4. I'm Kate Bergen. Oh, I wish you could smell these. They are so beautiful from the garden here at Milner's, no doubt. There's some people here enjoying scones and Devonshire cream and jam that was made right here on site. Now this tea room looks a lot different than it did just a year ago. They have expanded hours. Todd's going to run into a chair. There he goes. There's lots of seating here. Now the woman responsible for making this look like it does is Maggie Smith. She's an interior designer. What did you have to work with here? I'm just going to close the door actually so that we don't disturb the people having tea, and I can be my usual loud self. What kind of space were you working with to begin with?
Well, we started with the 2 rooms just as you see them right now. The rooms were certainly worked on over a period of years, originally when the house was built, and then added to and changed in the 1950s. So the room we're in right now.
Biggest thing, I guess, is floors. There was carpet in both these rooms.
Right. The room we're in right now already had been taken back to its original flooring, and so we did the same thing in the large tea room. What we did here in this room was take down some built-in bookcases and sideboards that were probably dated from the 60s, perhaps the 70s. We recreated, the panel work you see here was recreated to match that of the larger room, which is, I'm not sure, we're not sure of the date of the original paneling in the room, but I certainly know it's been here for quite some time.
There's some neat pieces right on the mantle over here, and that's a good example of the Victorian colonial, have I got that right? Era that you've created here.
What they did in the British colonial era was collect things from their travels, be it India or Asia, Africa, and what we see there are we see some blue and white ware, and we do see some Buddhas that actually are part of Veronica Milner's own collection. She, of course, was a British lady who loved this house and did a lot of work on the house and the gardens.
Says a lot about the lifestyle of someone too, if they can
Yes,
travel all over
absolutely,
the world like that.
yes.
Some pieces come from far, some from near. This table here was found in this house. You don't know a lot about it, I know, but it's beautiful.
This table was in the room that is called the Queen's Room. It's beautiful in this room, however, we've showcased it here in the tea room, and it's quite stunning really against the white walls, and everyone comments, everyone loves this. So I've already been told we're not moving this anywhere else and has to stay here. So we added the hurricane lamps, a nice touch of the West Indies, the British West Indies, and there's just enough of them in the rooms, both rooms, to really give some nice ambient lighting. And we did redo the draperies in the room, and they're very fitting for the house, I think, and they have a beautiful flower motif, large scale, which also is befitting of the garden themes. The couple of things we have to do in this room and the other room actually is we have to add a little bit of art, just a little bit to finish the room.
And Maggie's told me that she's been very particular. You want the right pieces, not any piece. What is the right piece of art for a room like this?
The large room is called the Camellia Room. This room is called the Wisteria Room because in, well, maybe another month, if you looked out those doors right there, you'll see beautiful wisteria just hanging down, just glorious. So right here we will have a beautiful big print of a peacock. He's very dark colors, the peacock is, surprisingly, but he's just framed beautifully by wisteria, and it looks very sort of late 1800s, early 1900s. And in that room we will have a lovely big print of the tea camellia, which is the camellia plant that the tea comes from, most teas. Yeah, so
I love coming to these places for work, except the downside is that it is work. I can't just sit here and have a cup of tea, and the ocean view is incredible. Maggie, thank you. It's beautiful.
Oh, you're so welcome. It's my pleasure.
And see the finished results. The tea room here at Milner Gardens is open from 1 until 4, 7 days a week, right through until Labor Day. And it's a full tea service, and it is, I don't know, it's kind of a delicate, quiet place, so I don't think I'd want to bring my children, but it depends on your kids. Just keep everyone else's experience in mind. It's a beautiful, beautiful experience here at the tea room in Milner Gardens. And the guy who, well, he probably drinks tea. I don't know about scones and Devonshire cream, probably. Here's your island chef, Michael Williams. We're in the front of the house at Milner Gardens and Woodland in Qualicum Beach. This brings us to the end of this edition of The Daily. You can get all the information you need about the events and the operating hours here at Milner Gardens in Qualicum Beach at milnergardens.org. We'd also like to share with you In Veronica's Garden is a book written by Margaret Cadwallader, who actually lived on the premises here in the gardens, and she's captured the history, and there is a lot of history here. Veronica Milner traveled in royal circles. Some of the visitors here have included Prince Charles and Princess Diana. There's a lot of stories in here, and a great thing to read while you're sitting having a cup of tea in the newly renovated tea house. They also host weddings here at Milner Gardens, and if you've got a proposal on your mind or you've already made that big proposal, we can feature you potentially on a new national program called The Proposal. Got a big idea? Need a big idea? The Proposal at shaw.ca. Thank you for watching this edition of The Daily. We'll see you next time.